Hello everybody, Richard here with CRG Games. It's been a long time since I've made a video. A lot of things have happened since the last time that I've been active in the Magic space. As you'll see, I am married now. I don't think I've mentioned that here recently. A lot of things have gone on. We'll get into that at another time, but today I've got a budget deck video for you. So this is Liesa, Shroud of Dusk, and this is my buddy's deck. It runs about $107 according to MTGGoldfish, and that is if you went with the base card for each of these cards in here, the base version. So it's super budget friendly, and it is, in my opinion, so annoying to play against. I love it. I love this deck. We played it again last night. I played a couple games against Jason. And just 1v1. I tried a couple different decks. He was on Liesa the whole time. And only one game where he just didn't get any good land drops did I win. But the other ones, man, the penalties, the damage, everything just starts to stack up, and it creeps up, and it creeps up, and it creeps up. And before you know it, it's just making it very hard to play. Now, the deck does, and Jason will tell you this, it does play better in a group setting. So the more people you have, the better. So let's go through it real quick, and I'll try to explain kind of how some of the interactions work and what the point of the deck is. So we'll start with Liesa. I pronounce her name Liesa. She's a legendary creature, an angel, 5/5, 2 colorless, 2 white, 1 black. So it's not that hard of a thing to cast. You can get that mana pretty quick. So rather than pay 2 colorless for each previous time you've cast this spell from the command zone this game, pay 2 life that many times. So essentially, this is replacing the commander tax, the 2 mana, with 2 life. And she has flying and lifelink, so she can help pay for herself. But it's the next line that I hate the most, but I also love. Whenever a player casts a spell, they lose 2 life. And in Commander, when you have 40, it doesn't seem that bad. It's like, okay, life is a resource. I got 40 of them. Might as well use them. But Liesa accelerates that usage to a point that is just hard to deal with. And all the creatures in this deck make that even worse. So let's go through it. I've went through ahead of time and separated everything into their respective card types. So I've got creatures up here in front. We'll just go through real quick. Most of these cards are going to be from the last, I would say 5 years, maybe 5 to 10 years. There's a couple of things that are older in here, but most of these are readily available anywhere you go. So Killian, this is Strixhaven, Menace, and Lifelink, which you'll notice Lifelink is going to be a recurring theme. But his ability, spells you cast that target a creature cost 2 less to cast. That's going to be important in this deck. So we got Indulging Patrician, flying, lifelink at the beginning of your end step. If you gained 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 2 life. So that's going to work in tandem with all the other lifelink creatures in here. Corpse Knight, this is absolutely one of my favorite cards. I have a couple hundred copies of it. Mainly it was a spec. I thought, okay, you know, it was like 10 cents at the time, and I bought, I don't know. I bought a lot. I bought it up to $1 or so, with the goal of getting it to $1, and it did. But yeah, great card. Cruel Celebrant, also a great card. Lose a life, gain a life. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses a life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. It's a kind of a little bit confusing. Power to mana value, not that great, but the ability is actually pretty good. And I believe this is Guild Pact. That's an older one. That's in the original Ravnica block, I believe. We got Astarion, the Decadent, and it is crazy how much he looks just like the Astarion from Baldur's Gate 3. It's awesome, actually. Death Touch and Lifelink, of course. High Priest of Penance, this is from Gatecrash. Whenever he's dealt damage, you may destroy target non-land permanent. Kind of just a little bit of utility there. Kunaros, Hound of Aetherios. This is a pretty cool one. This is a promo pack card. It's not that expensive. It's like 70 cents. But the Vigilance, Menace, and Lifelink is pretty cool. And this really shuts down playing things from the graveyard. And actually, this card essentially single-handedly shut me down when I was playing my Golgari deck that, had a lot of graveyard recursion in it, and that kind of put a stop to that. So we've got some more Gate Crash, Vizcampa Guildmage, Drawn as Emissary, great card. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Just a static ability that happens. It's awesome. And it's each opponent. So again, if you got multiple players at the table, its value increases. You got Blood Baron of Vizcampa, Tithe Drinker, Lifelink, and Extort. That is from Dragon's Maze. We got Fate Unraveler, Born of the Gods. Deals 1 damage to that player when they draw a card. Marauding Blight Priest, awesome card. This is a great card, honestly. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses a life. You're going to be gaining life a lot. And that plays into Veto. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. There's so many different triggers of gaining life in this deck, and each one of those triggers of life gain will trigger Veto. So you'll be doing damage. You'll be pinging damage all over the board. Vampire Cutthroat, nice little life linker. He's got Skulk, so he can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. So later game, when people are playing, 2s and 3s and so on and so forth, Vampire Cutthroat can get through, get that life link, and start pinging people. You got Zulaport, another pinger. Banehound, lifelink, and haste 1/1. You can get pings early. Gifted Aetherborn, Death Touch, and Lifelink. So the real theme here, of course, is Lifelink. You need a lot of Lifelink because Liesa is going to be a target. Everybody's going to want to get rid of Liesa because they don't want to take 2 life every time they, cast a spell. But you're gaining so much life that you can keep paying that commander tax, and it really doesn't hurt you. Null Priest of Oblivion, awesome card. Nice little foil there too. You got the Wind Shaper Planetar. This one was kind of interesting. So it took me a couple of times to read it, and Jason and I were going back and forth about this. So it's got a very specific use case. When Wind Shaper Planetar enters the battlefield during the Declare Attacker's step, for each attacking creature, you may reselect which player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. So if it's not your turn, somebody else is declaring their attackers across the board, and maybe they're declaring them at you, and you don't want that. So you're going to flash in Wind Shaper, and you're going to say, okay, I'm going to choose now where these attackers go, and you can put them all at your opponents. So it's a pretty niche card, I would say, but it's actually a pretty powerful ability. And these are the kind of cards I wouldn't even have thought of, honestly. You got Welcoming Vampire from Crimson Vow. This is a great card. Whenever 1 or more other creatures with power 2 or less enters the battlefield, and there's a bunch of them in here, you draw a card. It does only trigger once each turn, but you get to draw extra cards, and you're going to need that. You got Giada, Flying, and Vigilance. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it for each angel already, and it is a kind of a mana rock or a mana dork. You got Healer's Hawk, Flying, and Lifelink. I would like to see a little bit more Flying Lifelink in this deck, but it's not too bad. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, gain 1 life. Another Lifelinker, Admonition Angel. This is from the Zendikar Rising Commander deck, but this card came out a long time before that, I believe. I want to say it was around the original Zendikar, if I recall right, around that time period. Got Soul Warden from Exodus. I believe that's Exodus, yeah. Nykthos Paragon, great card. This is one that kind of snuck up on me. So Jason had gotten his board state up, a bunch of little, what do you call them, white weenies, or dorks, or whatever you want to call them. Small, low-power creatures. And then Nykthos was out, right? So Liesa hits me, because I don't have any blockers for a flyer. He gains 5 life. All of his creatures get 5 counters. At that point, I scooped because there was nothing I was going to do. It had way too much damage on the board. Esper Sentinel, this is probably the most expensive card in this deck. And right now, it is running $50. So if you got Modern Horizons 2 sitting around, it may not be that bad of an idea to crack it. Esper Sentinel's a big money hit. And of course, Esper Sentinel puts a tax on your opponents and allows you to draw cards. Got a Johnny's Sunstriker, another lifelinker, Daxos. Another creature you control ETBs or dies, you gain 1 life. Great card. Abzan Battle Priest. That's something you don't see a whole lot. A lot of cons cards have Outlast. I think that's really an ability that just didn't last a whole, a whole lot further than cons. Yeah, Deep Gnome Terramancer. This was a great card in Battle for Baldur's Gate, or is that what it's called? Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. Yeah, great card. Whenever 1 or more lands ETBs under an opponent's control without being played, so if they put it there, you may search your library for a Plains card, put it on the battlefield, tap it, and then shuffle. Do it only once each turn. So it's a good way to ramp yourself in white. Then you got Arcbound Mauser and Core Cartographer. That's a great card. It's an old one, but a good card. So let's move on to enchantments. That was all the creatures. Enchantments, there's a handful of them in here. There's 11 actually, I believe. So we got Duelist Heritage. This is one of Jason's favorites. This is one of my arch enemies. Because Duelist Heritage gives you so much power. Whenever 1 or more creatures attacks, you may have target attacking creature gain double strike until end of turn. It's a great politicking card. Personally, I don't like to play politics during Commander. I like to keep my mouth shut, basically, and if somebody wants to make a deal, I don't say anything. I'm in it to win it, and I'll do whatever I can to make that happen without politicking. But Duelist Heritage, if you want to make deals, this is a great way to do it. You got Griffinary at the beginning of your end step. If you gained 3 or more life this turn, which you can do with your commander, create a 2/2 white Griffin creature token with flying. So you can get this out pretty early, and with the amount of small cost creatures or low cost creatures in here, you can start getting these 2/2 Griffin flyers out of the battlefield pretty quick. We got Blind Obedience, great card from Great Gatecrash. I love this. Artifacts and creatures your opponents control ETB tapped. Very important to slow your opponents down. You get Out of Time. This can save you by clearing the board for a period of time. Yeah, a Johnny's Mantra. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may gain a life. You don't have to, but you can. That's a nice little effect there. Campaign of Vengeance. Whenever creature you control attacks, defending player loses a life and you gain a life. It just happens. It's really expensive. This is probably not something I would do. I'd probably take this card out and put something else in, like a tutor. A cheap tutor, if you want to keep it budget, but, it works. Got, I'm going to guess Arguel's Bloodfast. Underworld Dreams, that's a good one. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Underworld Dreams deals 1 damage to that player. Revenge of Ravens, Ill-Gotten Inheritance, which is a great card, and Greed. Pay 2 life, draw a card. You're gaining so much life, you can play you can use this effect all the time. So those are the enchantments. Nothing super crazy there. There's a couple of sorceries in here. Let me get the sorceries here first. So we've got Sign in Blood. That is a mystical archive. Not a foil one. Draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. Draw 3 cards, lose 3 life. You need to really be drawing cards in this deck. There's a little bit of Destroy in here. Damn is a great card. It's a board wipe if you pay the overload cost. Honestly, Damn is just a great card overall for any black deck. Yeah, I would say any black deck. Even if it's got white in the mana cost, so you got to be playing black-white, I believe. But still a great card. We got Ancient Craving. Then we got Cleansing Nova, another board wipe. I generally don't run really any board wipes. I should, but I try to overrun with damage before I need a board wipe. Jason usually runs a couple in here. In all of his decks, I believe. Got Hour of Revelation, another board wipe. Fateful Absence. The reason I don't run board wipes is because I don't like Commander games to take a really long time. I don't want to sit at the table for 40, 50, 60 minutes, plus. 20 to 30 minutes is fine, but when it gets into the hour territory, I'm I'm ready to go. I'm ready to scoop. We got Return to Dust and Path to Exile. You need a little bit of removal in here. Destroy target creature from Grasp. That's a great card. So now we've got some instances. Well, we had one there too. Succumb to Temptation. Some more destroy stuff. Got a couple artifacts in here as well. Not a whole lot, but there's a few. Lightning Greaves is important. Really, in any deck, it's almost an auto-include. It's a few bucks. But when you put Lightning Greaves on your commander, of course, that is going to protect your commander. And because it has an equip cost of 0, you can equip this, as soon as you bring it out and put it on Liesa. It's a great card. It does have that drawback, though, of giving your creature Shroud. So you're not going to be targeting it, although neither is anybody else. And then we've got some mana rocks. These are all mana rocks. We got just low cost, cheap mana rocks, Signet, Soul Ring, of course. You got to have a Soul Ring, Mind Stone, Talisman, and Arcane Signet. So nothing too crazy there. Lands, super budget lands. Like super, super budget. Evolving Wilds, you can get this anywhere. Terramorphic Expanse, it's a penny card. You got Tainted Field, not even any dual lands, and Caves of Koilos, and a Command Tower. But you really don't need all that other stuff. A lot of the stuff in here is pretty low CMC, so you won't have any problems paying any mana costs. There's enough mana rocks in here that you can get some extra out early, and there's enough cards in here. I would say there's enough cards in here that help you ramp as well, so you're not going to be hungering for mana unless you just get really unlucky. And then we've got just a bunch of basic swamps. So that is a budget Liesa deck for you. You're going to play Liesa. You're going to play a bunch of small creatures, small and medium creatures that allow you to deal damage to your opponent, a lot of indirect damage to your opponent. And when you do that, you're slowly or sometimes quickly going to whittle them down bit by bit by bit. Not to mention, every time your opponents cast a spell, they take 2 life. They lose 2 life. That alone, that ability, this line of text is the thing that I hate the most about Liesa. Also the thing I love the most about Liesa is it just has that ability. And I thought the only thing that could make this better is if Liesa had Eminence and you could just leave it in your command zone and only the bottom ability would take place. So whenever a player casts a spell, they lose 2 life. That would be awesome. Now, as far as power level goes, since the last time I made a video, there's been changes, right, to the way Commander power levels work. I don't know what you would call this. I don't know what power level it would be. If I were to put it in a 1 through 10, I would probably put it in a 4 or 5. It's powerful enough to where it hurts everybody at the table. It's honestly got a decent chance of winning. It's not like crazy. If you can shut down some of the creatures early on, or shut down the mana rocks or something along those lines, you can stifle this deck pretty good. But as soon as Liesa gets out, and if Liesa is protected, every time you're casting spells, you're taking damage. And that just sucks. And of course, Liesa can always be cast for 5 mana. And X amount of life, depending on how many how many times it's been killed. So that is Liesa, Shroud of Dusk. Like I said, is about $107 right now. The link for the MTGGoldfish list will be in the description. Yeah, check it out. If you want to build it, awesome. Try it out. There's nothing to lose, and I think you'll honestly have a lot of fun with it. Also want to point out that if you are not a store and you don't have an LLC and you don't have a corporate account to buy supplies, mainly sleeves, play mats, storage boxes, things of that nature, with so many sets coming out, I am having to go back, purchase cards, and I'm getting a lot of bulk. I need places to store it. So I buy a lot of my stuff from BCW. If you don't have a corporate account, you don't get, you can't buy at wholesale prices, you can use my code CRGGames at checkout in your cart. You'll get 10% off. You can use that for your retail orders. That's a great way to save a lot of money. And especially now because tariffs are affecting the prices on a lot of these kind of products. So anytime you can save money, save money. I love saving money. It's one of my favorite things to do in the world. And actually, I've done that for a career now for I don't know how many years. It's always about saving money. So CRG Games, save you 10% off of your retail orders on bcw.com. And yeah, enjoy. So I'll have some more videos coming out in the next couple of months. I'm not going to be churning out videos like I used to, but I am getting back into it. And I'm kind of excited about it. I've been having a lot of fun lately. So I'll catch you guys later and have fun.